Alrighty, everybody, welcome to another Kaldheim draft. Today I want to talk about something that I think is difficult to evaluate, and let's talk about power evaluation of cards. So we're going to look at the cards in this pack, and we're going to figure out what's good and what's bad, and let's talk about why one is better than the other. So we're looking for two comparable cards in this pack. There's not really two comparable cards in this pack, so we'll get to that in the next one. But let's say, for instance, I think Rowan is quite good, right? Rowan and Will have some actual, power behind them. So we're going to take it. But let's talk about, Shadewing Laureate. Why is this card good? So, comment down below why you think that this is good first. And then I'll talk about it. So, we have a flying creature that is evasive, so it gets through damage. It's good on the curve, so it fits our 3 slot. And it also rewards us for having more evasive creatures, which is what we're looking to draft. So that's kind of how you evaluate this card. So a 3-mana 2/2 wouldn't be good. However, a 3-mana 2/2 with flying that rewards us for having more flying creatures immediately gets better, even though it has a more restrictive mana cost, right? So we're looking at power. So let's look at this. So increasing vengeance, for instance, this card, yeah, this card could be awesome. It really does have the ability to be good if you have specifically the deck, but it's very corner case, and therefore I wouldn't recommend drafting it early. Now we look at something like Maelstrom Muse versus Frost Trickster. If this was pack one, pick one, I would take Frost Trickster. And the reason being is Frost Trickster is more flexible, so they're roughly the same power level. This one creates mana, so it generates tempo, and this one creates, it removes your opponent's blockers, creating tempo. So overall, you want to say, even though Maelstrom Muse is a hallmark uncommon, Frost Trickster is overall a more flexible card, and therefore I think if you're evaluating cards early in the game, you would typically pick Frost Trickster. For instance, we just picked Rowan and Will, so maybe we take Muse here, and we kind of just accept it. But when you're looking at what you're drafting, you should always be thinking, why am I drafting this card? That's the important part to know, because knowing why you're drafting something is something that makes you perform better, because you're constantly being able to evaluate each card and knowing to say, hey, maybe this archetype's not open, and then I can change. So for instance, right now we're going to work towards Prismari, obviously because we have a bomb here in Will and Rowan, and I would like to make this work. And we followed up with a Maelstrom Muse, and now we get to follow it up with an Iteration. All of these cards are very good. One of the big things, though, is being flexible. So we see Claim the Firstborn in this pack, Arcane Subtraction in this pack. Not great. Pillar Drop Warden's okay. I think Zephyr Boots is what I would take here, because I think it's just the best in all the archetypes. But something to note here is Reading Signals now. So we see Eureka Moment in the pack, and that's a very, very good card. And that means that, this is a Quandrix card. Maybe Quandrix is open. Maybe we should be thinking about what if we moved into Quandrix. Karok is pretty decent. Pest Summonings is decent. So we're kind of looking at maybe our archetype's not open. So let's take Zephyr Boots and we'll keep going from there. So here we're starting to see some stuff. We see Bookworm in the pack still and Frost Trickster in the pack still. Both of these cards fantastic in their archetypes. So, and actually Bayou Gruff is quite good as well. So I think green is quite open at this table. So it's difficult to say what to pick, but I think Frost Trickster is just a good pick. I think this card is just very, very good. Elemental Summonings as well for our sideboard would be decent. Alright, so here we can pick a Pump Spell. We can pick Enthusiastic Study as a learn. We could take Water Wheel Aerialist as an evasive creature. I think overall what I want to take is I just want to take Prismari Campus here. I think it's just the most flexible pick. It helps fix our mana. We do have a slightly restrictive casting cost here on Maelstrom Muse. Wow. So now we're looking at 7th pick Frost Trickster, and I was talking about picking this up 2nd pick. So this is a huge sign that blue in some facet is open, right? Because we have a Frost Trickster in the pack. Spectacle Mage is actually decent as well, and still being in the pack. And then we see Professor of Zoomancy in the pack. I do think blue-green is open, and I also think blue-red, for the most part, is going to remain open. Here we just take a Masterpiece. I think it just fits well. We need some way to win the game. Something to play off of Maelstrom Muse. And we'll see here Witherbloom Pledge Mage again in the pack. I mean, that card's very good. So let's talk about start from scratch. So why would you not play something like this? Obviously, besides the fact that it's a lesson. So like this, let's just say this card is 2 mana and it's not a lesson. Why would you not play this in the main board of your deck? It's so situational because it only deals 1 damage, which isn't much. It is not going to kill anything or very little. And destroy target artifact. What if your opponent's just not playing an artifact at that point? What do you do then? Now you have some dead cards. I will say, things like Zephyr Boots existing in the format do make it a little bit more reasonable to have. I like having 1 in the sideboard, but it's a lesson. So that's why we get the flexibility in this type of like MTG Arena. We get the flexibility in best of 1s to be able to access our sideboard, because sideboard doesn't matter so much on best of 1s, right? Here we'll just take 20 gems. We'll just draft for our value, I guess. We'll take Arcane Subtraction. I don't think Karok coming back is actually a pretty big sign. Groff coming back is a sign too. I think green is wide open at this table. Oh, I like Enthusiastic Study. It's not bad. This is an okay sideboard card. All right, so let's take a look at our pack first. I like going, when we start up at the top of a new pack, I like seeing what our curve looks like. So right now we'll see we have 2 spells on 2. We have our boots on 1, but we don't really have any creatures on 2, and that's something we need to be careful of because we want to make sure we're not too top heavy. If we are, we'll just end up getting ran over and dying. So we know that Rowan and Will are great late game cards. So we put these up in the, I actually want to put these up in the 5 slot because I think Will is better than Rowan. So we have some late game and Elemental Masterpiece. Muse can help cast Elemental Masterpiece. So what we're really lacking on is the early game right now. So I think that's something that we need to keep in mind. For now, I just want to take Illustrious Historian. I think this card is just okay, and it's good filler. But this pack's really not that strong for us in general. Stadium is just a trap. Don't play it. Dark Ritual, you're never playing this in Limited. So definitely don't do this. If you were a black drafter, you would pick Mage Hunter's Onslaught or Witherbloom here, unless you're specifically Witherbloom, and then maybe you take Blood Researcher. Ooh, Callous Blood Mage. This card is quite good. Yeah, once again, there's not much in here for red or blue for us. And I don't think that's necessarily us drafting incorrectly. I do think our colors are open, but I think this pack is just very weak in our colors in general. We could take Fuming Effigy, which is like mediocre. Otherwise, I think I just want to take Zimone here. Just maybe we splash it if we play like a late game, or we play like a ramp deck or 3-color ramp deck or something like that. All right, here we go. So now here's another Maelstrom Muse for us. That's really big. Other cards in this pack, I mean, I wouldn't mind with Spirit Summonings coming back. I don't think it's going to. Make Your Mark is okay. This has gone down on my list for how good it is. As the more and more I've played the format, I feel like the more and more people know about Make Your Mark, the more they play around it, so the less likely it is to be good. So we need some early game here. So there's a Lash in the pack if we wanted to go black. I don't think I really want to waver from the place I'm going right now. I could take Vine Glimmer. If I was thinking about splashing that Zimone, this is a decent way to set it up. But I think here we just take Opt. I'm happy to take Opt in this deck. It's a spells deck, so Opt is okay. Oh, here we've got Serpentine Curve, so that's very good for us, right? Because we're almost exclusively a spells deck right now. We've got a lot of spells. So we just want the curve. Strategic Planning I wouldn't mind wheeling, or maybe even the Frog. Wow, there's still a Lash in this pack. Maybe black is really open. I think I want Spirit Summonings here for my sideboard. But, I mean, like, Plum, Shadewing, Laureate, Lash, Spectre, all in the pack. Black is very open at this table now. I'm wondering if somebody switched, or if there was just a red drafter on my left. There could have been a red drafter right after me. All right, here. I think we could make Teach by Example work. I've never really been a huge fan of this card, but I don't like Wormhole Serpent that much. I don't think I need it. So let's take Teach. I don't think we can take another Zephyr Boots. I do think this card is quite good, but I think 3 of them is too many. Let's take Introduction to Prophecy here. It's just a decent sideboard card for us. I think I'm going to take another one. I think it's better than the Flyer right now for us, and I don't think Vortex Runner is where we want to be. Alright, well, let's take this. I mean, it wheeled around. Okay, so I do think this deck might actually want Reject at this point. We don't have anything early. We've got Illustrious Historian, and that's it. So, I mean, we might just want this, like, kind of mediocre counter spell to try to protect us early. And then here we'll just take Vortex Runner because it's just free. Ooh, the Frog Wheel. That's good early game for us. Alright, and then we got a Serpent. I guess if we need a late game win condition, we could play that. Oh, here we go. So multiple choice and counterspell in the pack. That's really good. I think multiple choice might actually be a little bit better. It's just a really good value card. It's hard to not take it. I think there is an argument for taking counterspell, but I'm not sure. This is kind of tough. I think I'm going to end up taking multiple choice. I hope counterspell wheels, but I don't think it's going to. I don't think there's a really much of a blue drafter at the table, so there's a chance it does wheel. Double blue is tough if you're not playing a lot of blue, so we could take this. I think sticking to your guns in general is pretty decent, though. Like, you don't want to marry your first couple picks, however, but we saw some like signals like Frost Tricksters going late, and like we got a Maelstrom Muse pretty late, so I think it's worth, you know, sticking to my guns at this point and saying I'm gonna go red blue. I don't want to try to change it up so late in and then end up like not being able to get enough playables or something. So we're going to cut the Effigy for now because we're going to replace this with Serpentine Curve. We have tons of spells in this deck, right? We've got this will be our 14th non-creature, so these things should be huge. I don't hate another Elemental Masterpiece as a late game win condition. I think it's better than Wormhole Serpent, so I'm going to take that. We have the double Maelstrom Muse to make them 5-drops essentially, which is quite good. And we can also discard them for treasures early if we need to. Could take a Fractal Summoning for the sideboard. Let's move the Campus out for now. We have double Prophecy out of the sideboard and Spirit Summonings. Okay, yeah, I'll take Fractal for the sideboard here. Just another late game card for us. Symmetry Sage is a trap. This card is just too hard to make work. I think this is going to be a constructed card, but it's not worth trying to force inside of your normal like games of limited. Oh, Divide by Zero is great though. It's a fantastic spell just in general. It protects us. It learns to create value inside of the Prismari deck, which is honestly what we need. It's better than Enthusiastic Study because Enthusiastic Study is just like an aggressive card. So we'll take Divide. Burying Books versus Sudden Breakthrough. This is a little tough because Sudden Breakthrough is actually kind of decent in our deck because it's treasure generation, so it's ramp. However, I do think Bury is good. It just beats big fractals. So you want to make sure that you have something to handle those big fractals because Divide by Zero can't. I think we do take another Frog here. I want to short my early game a little bit. I think I'm going to cut one Zephyr Boots. Here, I'll take Illustrious Historian. I think this card's actually decent, so I'd rather play that over a Frog. Okay, so let's take a look at our curve real quick here. So our curve is actually evened out quite a bit now. Now we've got a little bit more early game. We've got 3 creatures on the early. We did cut 1 Boots out of the deck. I think we could make... You know, oddly enough, I think Teach by Example is actually pretty decent in this deck. But I think I'm just going to take another Historian. I like it more over the Frog. I think we should start cutting down here because we do want to play 17 lands. So let's go ahead and cut Vortex Runner. I don't think that's what we want. That's more of a Quandrix card. And let's cut the Befuddler for now. Here we'll take a Biblioplex Assistant. As you guys can see at this point, I mean, actually, you know what? I'm just going to take Demagoth for 20 gems. I'm not going to play Biblioplex. But you can see, like, Demagoth being in this pack is huge. Like, Spectre, Karok, Inklings. Black is wide open at this table now. Always be looking for signals like that, so that way you can make sure you're in the correct archetype. Because whatever archetype you're in, if it's open, you'll do well. All of the archetypes are viable in this set. Just take this for progress. I don't think we're going to pick up anything else that we really care much about. We might play Aerialist. Again, might play Sudden Breakthrough, but I doubt it. I don't think I'm going to play Aerialist either. And then we'll just pick that guy up. Alright. So I think this deck is decent. It looks like it has quite a bit of potential. Let's look if there's anything that we think we should cut. One Teach by example. Zephyr Boots is a little weird in this deck because I don't have that many creatures, but I feel like once I get the creatures rolling, if I can get a Zephyr Boots on them, I'm in good shape. We'll go ahead and play the Prismari Campus here, just for value. Then we can play 8/8 and it's good mana fixing. Yeah, I think we should send something like this. We're a little light on creatures, but I mean, it's not too bad. Figure Elemental Master Police plus Serpentine Curve is also creatures, so we'll play towards something like that. Illustrious Historian is pretty recursive as well. All right, here I think we can keep this hand. It's not great because of the Enthusiastic Study, but it's okay. I mean, we have multiple choice for late game. We have Arcane Subtraction for early. Maybe a trick with Frost Trickster or something. We are on the play, so we can create some extra tempo. So, like, we'll just Frost Trickster this down. Sometimes Frost Trickster can just steal games as well. Alright, so our opponent is on 3 colors. I typically don't advocate for 3 color in this format. I just don't think it's very strong. Splashing is doable, but it's so slow. I'm going to go ahead and attack because I'm not going to block here. I'm going to play Maelstrom Muse. I don't want to commit myself to a block unless I'm planning to follow it up with Arcane Subtraction or Enthusiastic Study at this point. So here we actually have a pretty interesting situation. Our opponent could have a flunk, I guess. But I think what I'm going to do here is play Enthusiastic Study targeting the Muse. Get an Intro to Prophecy. And then when we go to combat here, we get to attack in for 7. And this discounts something by 5. And then we get to play multiple choice. Actually, don't know if I want Burying Books. I don't think so. Okay, yeah, they bounced something. That was just a good tempo play in general. We got our lesson out. We got extra damage. I actually think I'm okay with blocking here. Even if they have a pump spell, then it's something that they're likely going to it's going to trade. Sudden Breakthrough is the one that really punishes us there. This is okay for us. This eats up most of our opponent's turn, and we just trade off our 4/4 that we were going to trade off anyways. So we got a 2-for-1 exchanging some life totals. They got Environmental Sciences, so they probably follow up with Environmental Sciences here. But now we have like Frost Tricksters and stuff to continue to play back. We can tempo out our opponent at this point. So we can go ahead and attack for 4. And then I'll cast Introduction to Prophecy here, looking for a land. Don't need Opt at this point. We'll take the land, play Historian, and now we have a lot of pressure on board. We have 8 damage, and all of it flies because we have Zephyr Boots to make the Historian fly. And we can start looting with that at that point. I don't think I have an Expanded Anatomy in my sideboard, so it's not a way that we can actually put lethal. Alright, our opponent conceded even though they weren't dead. I think they just knew that they couldn't handle it. Alrighty, everybody, welcome to game 2. On the play, I think Reject is actually decent. I'm not in love with it on the draw. I think you're always just behind, but I don't mind it on the play here. This sets us up for this kind of protects us for a multiple choice and an early Serpentine Curve that's little. So I think we keep this hand. Here we'll just pass, and if our opponent doesn't play anything, then we can opt. I think we just reject that. Now here's interesting one. If our opponent plays a creature, I think we just Arcane Subtraction it to get it in the graveyard. This way our Serpentine Curve's actually kind of big. We'll take Introduction to Prophecy here. We just want to be able to hit our land drops and keep playing back on the game. We'll opt here. Land is good. And then we'll just play a Serpentine Curve for 4. A 4/4 on turn 4 is pretty decent out of a Serpentine Curve. Can't really complain too much about it. We get to follow it up with a 4/4 plus Scry Draw and bounce a creature next. So we get to tempo our opponent pretty hard here. We'll have 8 damage in play. They need to kill this. If they want to take 2 with Poet in order to attack us, that's fine. Okay. Hunt is a little weird because we don't really get much tempo generation out of it. We're just kind of bouncing a token. Looks like our opponent's looking to block. I think we want to take that option away from them. Frost Trickster is also going to generate tempo here for us, so I think it's decent. We did mess up a little bit here. I could have played Prismari Campus instead, since it doesn't really matter for our mana generation right now. We would much rather have the untapped land next turn, just in case we wanted to play 2 spells. Inkling Summoning Flash of Malice, they're attacking. Sure, I think we're just gonna attack again. We'll just play multiple choice for X equals 4 here. We get all the effects out of it. It creates good value for us. We can put the land on the bottom. We do need a little bit more out of our... Oh, we'll target them. We do need a little bit more out of our cards right now. What does the backside of this do again? Goes to 5. I think we just keep attacking here. We should keep aggressive. We'll play Will and Plus here.
Oh, good. I've got a test tomorrow, and I could use it.
We'll target the Lifelinker, and then we will play Illustrious Historian. If we lose Will, it's fine. This could be a really big tempo play because our opponent has to essentially attack Will. So we make ourselves start winning the race by a long shot. And we basically kill their Lifelinker here. Alright, so it gets a little awkward now because they could hit the Leech Fanatic with Expanded Anatomy, and they're going to kill Will here.
I guess I need to study more.
I think the goal here is to attack with everything. We might be able to push lethal with an Enthusiastic Study in some variety. 4. Yeah, so this should be lethal, right? So we get to trample over. We got rewarded for the tempo plays we made. We didn't want to get into a value war based on the texture of our hand. Alrighty, welcome to game 3, everyone. I think we do keep this. I think I'm going to play Prismari Campus first, so I'll get the most information for this opt. We'll wait till we see what our opponent does. So the one thing this deck is lacking is removal. So Prismari Apprentice could actually be a pretty big threat here. I'm going to put that on the bottom. We need more spells. All right. Drawing more lands is not what we need, but that's okay. I think we actually just take 2 here, so we can play Maelstrom Muse next turn, and then we can teach by example double bearing books for significantly more tempo and more value out of our cards. I'll just play Muse. We can start looting away these lands as well with Zephyr Boots. Opponent could have removal here, which is okay. It does take up their turn. Yep. Just gonna go ahead and pass. That card's gonna be tough to beat. Sparring Regiment is really, really strong. I think we're just scrying here. Frost Trickster will work. We can frost this down for now. We just need to buy ourselves time right now. And then hopefully we can develop our tempo. I probably should have equipped Zephyr Boots here. I'm not really bluffing anything, and I'm not holding anything. Okay. Yeah, we need to teach by example Barry here. Two and then 2, so we target this first, and then we target Prismari Apprentice. So Prismari Apprentice is on top. Alright, no, so Elementalist is on top. Yeah, I messed that up. Pledge Mage doesn't matter to us. Spectral Mage matters a lot. We're so light on removal in this deck, I think we're going to struggle here. Put this into my hand. And this into the library. And we'll exile this. We'll just subtraction this now. I think we're going to need Prophecy here. We can kind of start to lock up the ground a little bit at least. Hopefully they're not casting Elemental Summonings and they're casting some other creature that we can tag with a reject. This game's going to be hard to win though. Practical Research. I don't know that our opponent needed that. I think they should have just developed 4/4. They don't need value. Oh, they're not going to develop 4/4. Well, I'm gonna reject that. I want to try to squeeze damage here. I think our opponent's going to be afraid to block, and I don't think we're winning if they block anyways. We're not winning by staying on defense. They have more cards than us. This is a risky attack, but you never know what our opponent does here. Yeah. So we got 2 free points. Now we can go curve, like big curve, and then play give it flying. We get to bounce something now? Oh, okay, test of talents? Sure. Interesting. I don't know why people play this card in the main board. I think this card is quite bad. It's so situational. Like, it's really good in this matchup, I guess, specifically. Alright, well, our opponent knows exactly what our hand is now, so we're not really hiding anything, so we can't really make attacks until we can get some new cards. This is going to be tough. Hopefully this Fractal can stay in play for a while. Yeah, let's see. So our opponent can't make attacks yet, right? I don't think they can make attacks even with this heated debate. 2 heated debates. Yeah, we're just dead. I mean, our opponent had 3 heated debates. Yeah, I'm not beating 3 heated debates. That card's really good. Much less a rare, 2 bomb rares as well. Opponent had a crazy deck. Alrighty, everybody, here we are at game 4. I think we can keep this. This hand's okay. Muse curves into Elemental Masterpiece pretty well. We have Reject to try to protect ourselves. We have Divide by 0 now in order to get rid of anything that does get into the board early. See what our opponent does here. We're okay with just taking 2 for now. I think I'm just gonna pass. I don't want to discard Elemental Masterpiece yet. Now we'll take 2 again, then we can reject, or we can divide by 0, one or the other, and then we have Muse to follow. Yeah, we'll reject that. Alright, we just go ahead and play Maelstrom Muse here. And if this gets an attack off, we get to add another 8 power to the board next turn. This is Enthusiastic Studies. I think I'm okay with eating their turn and sacking my Maelstrom Muse for that, because I can follow up with another Muse. They could have a sudden breakthrough, but I'm playing around Enthusiastic Study. Beaming Defiance? Alright, that kind of sucks for us. It does eat their whole turn, though. You have to play multiple choice though, which is nice. I think we actually want this because we can play it next turn. We get to bounce something to their hand and make a 4/4. Now we can start attacking, and our opponent has to spend their turn redeveloping Arrogant Poet. What is this? Other tapped creatures you control get +1/+0. Other untapped controls get, whenever you attack, untap each creature you control. What the heck? That's a lot of text. Just go ahead and attack. I'm gonna play Muse Historian. Just be careful how they make attacks now. This card seems quite good though. The back half of Plarg. Make it 2/2. I think I just take 2. Yeah, I'll just take 2. That's fine. Go to combat attack with both. Once again, our opponent is splashing 3 colors. I'm not in love with the 3-color splash, especially in an aggro deck like what our opponent has. It only puts 1/1/1 counter on it, right? Make it 3/3? I don't understand. Oh, okay. We're just like all in on this card. I get to just bounce it now. I can't imagine our opponent can come back from that. Opponent's really far behind on tempo now. Sure, we both lose 2 is fine. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That makes it so their poet can't fly anymore too. Alright, I'll just send everything then. We'll just make 2 4/4s. I don't think our opponent can win now. Too far behind. Yep. Alrighty, everybody, welcome to game 5. I think we can keep this. This is okay. We can try to do some kind of teach by example stuff, or it could just sit around for a long time while we make a multiple choice or something. But we have reject to protect ourselves early. We are playing 17 lands, so we'll hit a couple more land drops here by the time we need them. I'm just gonna reject the first thing that I can get my hands on here, basically. I'm actually gonna play Frost Trickster for no value as well. Just a 2/2 flyer. Sure. Hopefully this eats most of our opponent's turn then. Yep, ate their whole turn. Whatever creature our opponent plays here, as long as it doesn't generate a pest, we can just bounce back to their hand. Oh, looks like they have removal. I'm just not going to play anything then. I might be able to get a teach by example with 2 multiple choice copies. If our opponent's not going to do anything here. Sure. We'll just keep playing this way. I'll just play Elemental Masterpiece here. This is essentially Elemental Masterpiece again, but with bounce effects and also scry 2, draw 2. And our opponent's just way behind on value now. If they just have a handful of removal, we don't care. Draw the Muse. Play this. If we just keep applying threats, our opponent will never catch up. They need to play something to the board. Sure. Alright, now we can multiple choice for x equals 4. Put that on the bottom, draw a card. They can return something. Yeah, now our opponent's just outvalued. There's nothing they can do. They can't beat 2 more 4/4s plus scry 1, draw 1, scry 1, draw 1. Alrighty, everybody, here we are with a game 6. I think we can keep this. This hand looks okay. It's a little slow. Teach by Example has ended up being better than I've expected in this deck. But I guess this is the deck for it. Alright, we'll just lead on campus. One of the big things is just making sure that you're consistently going 4 wins or more, and then you'll rank up. Eventually, you'll just hit Mythic by doing that. Obviously, you can get everything past 3 wins. It's just gravy, but you want to make sure you're keeping a 50-50 or higher positive win rate. So just make sure you're drafting consistently, play smart, and try to squeak out every game you can, even if your deck isn't as good. Let on blue-black. That's very interesting. We have no need to play anything right now. If our opponent slams like a forest and a creature, then we can just divide by 0. Are they going to discard? Looks like they're thinking. No plays. Alright. That's fine. We'll just play Maelstrom Muse here. There's no removal spells in the format that our opponent could have. They have to have a counter spell here. Next turn, they could hit like Mage Hunter's Onslaught. We need to play where we're keeping pressure on them to some extent, though. We have double Serpentine Curve, so we have good late game, but we got to get these things into play first. Sure, Divide's fine. Doesn't really put too much pressure on us. Our opponent gets some value here with Environmental Sciences. Again, we have a really good late game, so I'm not too scared. Get Mountain. Alright, so our opponent's on Grixis. Interesting. Just play Muse again. Honestly, I might just follow it with Muse next turn as well. This is fine. Looking to hit land here with Expressive. We will put this into our hand. We will put this into the library, and we'll exile this, and then we can cast Frost Trickster here. We'll just keep the Pledge Mage tapped. Maybe we can get a Will into play next turn. Alright. Rutha is kind of scary here. Just thinking on whether it's good to play Will here or not. It seems unsafe, but Muse takes up our whole turn. I'm gonna play this. I'm going to try to commit one Serpentine Curve here. I'll make it 3-3. Or 2 3-3s. I want to try to stabilize my board a little bit more so that way I can get a will into play and draw off of it. I guess Rowan's Emblem is also just kind of like a win card. Maybe we do go for Rowan then. See what our opponent does here. That'll inform us a little bit more. Depends on if we're playing a value game or if we're just looking to win the game. Umbral Juke. Okay, that's fine. 2 Umbral Jukes is tough. Sack Frost Trickster. And we'll sack Fractal as well. I'll also block here if they attack. I'm gonna play Rowan on the front.
Just you wait. Let's see how many volts you can take.
We have Arcane Subtraction here, so it's safe for an attack. Opponent no blocks is fine with us too. We just get damage and then we can make plays from here. We've got Divide by 0 plus Arcane Subtraction this turn in order to get some value. So we'll probably Divide by 0 the Rutha if it comes down. I'm just going to subtract this. Elemental Summonings, okay. Sure. Let's go ahead and Arcane Subtraction this. Double red. I don't really have enough mana for double red. Just bounce this to the hand.
Art and combat aren't so different.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's go Prophecy here. I want both these. Play a curve. Hopefully we can set up an alt with Rowan this next turn. I think if we alt, we just can't lose. Because next turn we can alt Rowan and then multiple choice for... We have 7 mana, right? Yeah, so we can multiple choice and copy it. Right. Okay. That's our opponent's whole turn. We'll block here if they make an attack. I actually think I'm gonna greed this.
I don't even need my sword to win.
We know 4 of our opponent's cards. I want to try to keep this Rowan so that way I can keep pinging my opponent, keep pressure on them. Would suck if they had a Mage Hunter's Onslaught here. This is very greedy of a line when we could have just taken a Rowan Emblem. But if this works, we probably win. Multiple choice for everything. We can cast Introduction Prophecy for free.
No holding back.
1, 2, 3, 4. Pay. Auto pay to copy. Boots on the bottom. Draw a card. We'll bounce a card that they own. Bottom. We had to cast 2 prophecies here. Take up Burying Books here. And we'll take... Actually, I think I want land here. I just want to be able to continue to cast. I just don't see how an opponent can come back from this much. Even if they kill Rowan now, they're just dead. I've got double Elemental Masterpiece and... put everything back in their deck. Alright, nice. Maybe we just didn't need to greed the Rowan either. I could have just played it. Or I could have probably just gotten the emblem. Alrighty, everybody. Here we are with game 7. I think we could keep this. We have reject to help us early. It's kind of weird because we're on all blue, but multiple choice should catch us up as well. Ooh, we have a teach by example now too. And we should be able to reject our opponent's first play. Our opponent's not really doing anything, so we don't have any pressure on us to do something. Now I'm going to play Zephyr Boots and Frost Trickster because this is actually pressure. Sure. Getting out a premium spell like Heated Debate is fine. It would suck if they followed up with a creature here. Okay, that's really good for us then. Opponent's just missing land drops like crazy. Gruul, okay. This exiles it, which is huge for us. Alright, now that I don't have to hold on to it, I'm just going to cast. I'll draw this because I want another spell in the graveyard and I can cast it this turn. Sure. Serpentine Curve? Okay, that's a threat for us. We can copy Serpentine Curve here with Teach, for example. Or Teach by example. Okay, our opponent's on Teamer. Make 2 5/5s. Alright, we've got 14 power in play now. Opponent's not looking good. They've only got 4 cards, and they've already got 3 huge threats to take care of. Alright, more Frost Tricksters. Could just attack. I don't think I need to. I could just attack with both. I don't think I need to play anything. Like, I don't need to equip the boots. Attack with both here. play around heated debate this way. Pick intro. You play campus here. I'm gonna hold divide by 0. What does opponent have here? Academic dispute. All right, that's fine. Elementals, sure. Discard a card, then draw a card. When you discard an instant or sorcery card this way, deals damage equal to that. So he's gonna try to deal 5. Okay, I think I have to let this resolve because I can just cast it again. They're gonna discard their elemental summonings here. I want to see how our opponent sorts this out. If they attack with 2, they leave themselves dead. That's big for us. Okay, I'm going to divide by 0 anyways. I'll put this Amplimancer back in their hand on end step. They look like they have something. Snakeskin Veil? Alright. Oh, I shouldn't have played that. Wow, this is a double top right here. Drawn 1, 2. I could induce lethal here. Yep, this should be lethal then. They go to 3 here. We draw a card, discard Expressive Iteration. We've drawn 3 cards this turn, so we can ping them with Rowan for 3.
Practice makes
Bam,
potent.
let's go. Take Xaxes. Should have definitely held that mountain though. Alrighty, everybody, here we are with game 8. Once again, I think we can keep this. We have Reject and Historian early. Drawing Reject in my opening hands has been great. Drawing it in the late game is really bad. That's why the card struggles to be good, is because in the late game, it just sucks. We'll hold on to it for now, though. We don't need to play Historian. I'll just reject that. Alright, now we can play Historian. I'm gonna divide this back to the hand. This I want. That way I can double Spirit Summonings next turn. Our opponent should be using up most of their turn to cast that then. Yeah, that was their whole turn. Add 6/4 worth of power to play for 2 cards. Wow, second Apprentice? Wow. That's pretty sick out of our opponent. Gain 4, drain us for 2. Wow. Woo! Our opponent's on something. Lash plus Tendrils. They gain a bunch of life. Oh, this is tough. They're killing us. Witherbloom Apprentice is so powerful. We went from pressuring our opponent to being... They have 2x our life total. From 3 spells. We gotta bottom that for sure. Alright, let's play Serpentine Curve here. This is a pretty big threat. We have to block here. If they have Infused, then we just have to give it up. Alright, trade 2 for 1 right there on trade is good for us. We need to get this off the board. I also think Fortifying Drought is really underrated. That card is quite good as a pump spell, especially if you have Witherbloom Apprentices. Okay, they're gonna get back another Apprentice here. Is that what's going on? Sure, so they just brewed away my 2/1. I think that's fine. Opponent's on 1 card, so we're actually doing okay. Take Frost Trickster for sure. I'll put that on the bottom. I want to try to find a way to get rid of this Witherbloom Apprentice. Serpentine Curve is a way to win the game. Alright, well, let's play a big old 8/8 curve and then see what happens. If our opponent has a removal spell, it's bad for us, but they didn't play it on the Historian. They're gonna learn here. I think I'm actually just gonna make a 3/2. I could have played Enthusiastic Society to push a bunch of damage through the arch, but I don't know that it's worth it. But I don't know what this card does. Beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 black pest, pay 10 life, untap all lands you control, activate once. Okay, so it's a 4/4. Oh, beginning of each upkeep? Wow. We can frost down the Belladros. It's not going to be easy here. We might lose to that. Onslaught on the 8/8. Yeah, that makes sense. Can't really make attacks here. We're gonna fall really far behind to the pests. We need them to attack with the dragon, and then we can... Oh yeah, we're just dead, right? I don't know that I have a way to... There's no instance in this deck, right? To make work out of the sideboard. I think they're all sorceries. Yeah, this is a sorcery. Unfortunate. If that wasn't a sorcery, we could have dropped that thing to the ground and then blocked it. That card probably should be an instant, honestly. It costs 3 mana. Alrighty, everybody, here we are with game 9. I do think we can keep this. This hand's okay. It's not amazing, but... Got good flying threats, though. Hopefully we don't get aggroed out by our opponent here. That's one thing I'm kind of scared of. Guiding Voice, sure. That might be a little bit tough for us to handle now, because all of our stuff is like 2x. I guess we can bury this still. If all they're doing on turn 3 is casting Guiding Voice, though, we're in decent shape. Okay. Now they're just getting a bunch of lessons and stuff. Expanded Anatomy? Alright. We're in trouble. We need some help. Taking the aggressive line, too. We'll play this way because with Muse, we can set up a double block on, like, Blood Age General, sack off one of them, take 4, and then next turn we can play Historian plus Burying Books. Let's see if we can make it work. If they have a pump spell, we're in trouble. We're already in trouble, though, so... Yeah, that's really bad for us, but it's better than us taking a huge hit. Just kind of trying to weather the storm right now. Oh no. We just lose to Archaic, I'm pretty sure. I have to go to damage. But then stop at the end of damage to put this back. Best thing I can do here is play Ruin and target Archaic here. Just turn this into a 0-2. That way I'm not dead. If I have to start chumping, I'm gonna die. Palm spell plays here. Damage spell plays here. Kill spell plays here. Gonna play around. I can't play around anything for my opponent. I hate that I had to put back the Symbiology, because now they get... If they have an Expanded Anatomy, I'm dead. Oh, okay. Start from scratch just kills me. Sure. We died to start from scratch. I mean, it happens. Our opponent's decks, like, every deck that we lost to had, like, really, really strong rares. Or, like, the good answers. And it happens. I do want to take a final look at this deck, though, because I think this deck was pretty sweet. I've said it before on the channel, and I'll continue to say it again. I think that Prismari is just the best archetype that you can draft. I mean, it's actually just free wins. Like, I went 6-3, and I don't even think this deck's anything super special. We have Rowan and Will, and then we have... where did it go? Multiple choice. And those 2 cards were our rares. They were very, very good rares. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about them. Multiple choice did a lot of work. I was actually really surprised with how well Teach by Example did. Zephyr Boots didn't do much in this deck. I do think the card's quite good, though. But yeah, the spells deck in general, as you saw, like Serpentine Curve can just start winning games like very easily just because it gets out of control really fast. So I would say if you guys are looking to rank up this season, trying to make that invitational, whatever they do at the end of the month by being top 1200, I would definitely recommend checking this out. If you guys are new to draft and you have any questions, make sure you just send me a message. I will be happy to reply to you, or you drop it in the comments, any questions that you have. Otherwise, guys, if you are liking the content, like I said, there's going to be a lot more coming out on the channel for Strixhaven. I love the set. If you're liking the content, make sure you click the subscribe button, hit the like if you like the video, and I will catch you guys on the other side.